What's up, Snow?
Not much, MJ. We've got one of our Pod Jam friends. Well, the Pod Jam king
guy. Yeah. Pete Dominick.
Oh wait, we're not supposed to say king, right? Like, because we're against kings. Like,
what do you mean kings?
No kings. We can't
the
say.
king of all podcasts.
Yeah, king. Okay.
Stand up with Pete Dominick.
Okay.
Pete Dominick, welcome to the show.
Hey guys, I'm so happy to be here. It's so great. I'm sorry this took so long to make it happen, but it was great to see you guys in Vegas. Great getting to know both of you. And I'm really excited to engage in a thoughtful, amazing, highbrow conversation that probably will solve so many problems in the world.
You came to the wrong place for that.
Well, fingers crossed. I like the the word escapes me because we don't have a lot of it now. Not hope. Yeah, optimism. Like we don't. Yeah, thank you. We don't have a whole lot of it now, so it's always good to see sprinklings of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's get right into it because of the news from last night. You've been to the White House Correspondents Dinner before.
Yeah.
What is security like there?
Yeah.
Good. Great. Security's great, and it was great last night.
But I don't believe you.
Look at his face.
It was great. It was as good as it can get. The Secret Service is top notch. They locked down the perimeter. The shooter didn't get anywhere close to the primary perimeter. There were 2 staircases between the shooter and the president. People don't know how the Secret Service works or how national security works. I don't necessarily know, but I've been hosting a program for years where I interview Secret Service agents, FBI agents, and like lots of all the 3-letter agencies. I talked to some of them today on background, and it was as I suspected. The Hilton, I've been there 5 times. Anybody can walk into the hotel that day. The event takes place like 2 floors below in this giant ballroom. You have to have a ticket. You cannot bring a bag in, and you have to go through a metal detector, as everyone did. The shooter was never in the room. I think there's a lot of misconceptions and confusion. He was never even on the same floor. The Secret Service, he ran around the corner. There's video of him, and they did exactly what you would expect them to do. They pulled their guns. They stopped him. And the narrative that the Secret Service failed or that security is bad is, in my opinion, given both my experience at the dinner and talking to plenty of people in national security and some critical thinking and common sense, is that the security was great and it was not a failure. No one got anywhere near the president last night. That guy was fucking crazy and stupid, and he happens to be one of the hundreds of millions of people in the world that hate Donald Trump. He's the most hated man in the world, and a lot of people want to kill him. It's no surprise that people have tried to kill him because he's a horrible person. But listen, that was a pretty shitty assassin. And that kid had no idea what he was doing, and he didn't get anywhere near the president, and he traveled all the way across the country with some guns and knives. I mean, he was clearly both radicalized into believing something, but more importantly, no government's intelligence agency picked him. It's so crazy that we live now. Everything's life is a movie. If the Israeli intelligence, they get shit done. And if they're going to assassinate somebody, the assassin is going to be really good and get the job done, and you're never going to hear about it. This kid was just as you expect. Occam's razor says, something like the thing you most expect to be the case is exactly the case. And that's what this is, in my opinion.
Okay. I'm not disputing anything that you said, but why are they showing the pictures of trying to rush? They showed the picture of Stephen Miller and his wife being rushed out of there, and if the guy never even got in there, and then they showed the picture of Cheryl Hines, wasn't that Cheryl Hines, and then RFK Jr.
And his wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? I don't understand that part of it then. Like, because I believe what you said, like, about, like, top-notch security. And yeah, you want to believe that the Secret Service is, like, doing their jobs at all times. Like, what's up with that shit then?
I'll explain it in a way that I think most people would understand. The vast majority of people have, that's a, by the way, totally fair question, what you're asking. And we get all kinds of fragments of information, and our algorithms show us this video, but not that one, this tweet, but not that one, and so on. But in that case, when there is a gunshot or a gunfire or even a fight anywhere near the president or any cabinet members, the Secret Service protocol is to immediately lock down all of them and get them to safety and secure places, which they also have set up ahead of time. They have all kinds of perimeters. But the reason for that is, so this guy's upstairs, 2 floors up. He runs through, he gets tackled. 2 Secret Service agents shoot each other, apparently. There's conflicting reporting on that. We still need to wait till things get fully reported out. That's why we shouldn't react so quickly. But the Secret Service and every law enforcement agent in that building doesn't know in that moment if the shooter, who's 2 floors away, is working with anyone else. Is this a distraction? Is this part of the larger operation? They're trained to lock down the president when any threat appears anywhere, ever. Same is true of any other cabinet secretary who travels with security and has security. So they locked down all the primary people, except apparently Cash Patel. And I don't know what the hell he was doing last night, but that's just what they do. There's a shooter upstairs. All right, let's get the president out of here. That's what they do. And that's what they do well, and that's what they did. And by the way, the same was the case with that Florida, quote, attempted assassin. He never shot his rifle, and he never got anywhere near Trump. And they found him, and they got him, and they arrested him, and who was he? Just another guy who was lonely and wrote a manifesto and lives in a country awash in guns.
Well, you work for CNN, though. Why wasn't the reporting of that he was not even on the same level? Because I did not hear that reporting as of last night.
Just because you didn't hear it didn't mean it didn't get reported at CNN and everywhere else. That's an important lesson that I've learned in hosting my show forever and trying to help people understand how media works. You didn't hear it, but you weren't watching CNN every block, every hour. At this point, every outlet will be reporting the same thing, that he never got anywhere near the president. No one's denying that anywhere, and every outlet will arrive at the same conclusion, because in this case, it's an easily provable thing. They know what floor he was on. They know where it happened. They stopped him. He got nowhere near the president.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about your career. So you started up stand-up comedian, and how did...
Are you convinced, or do you have more questions? Because there's one more important point about this.
No.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, the most important point that everybody needs to ask themselves, because I've fallen for conspiracy theories, but I've made a career of trying to debunk them. And most of them have come from the right, but the left is now getting pretty bad and buying a lot of stuff. And there's a lot of bad faith content creators and influencers who know what they're saying is not true or not exactly true or whatever, and they're still posting it for clicks and money. I've never been that guy, and I never will be that guy. My conscience is clear, and that's how I sleep at night. But the most important question one has to ask themselves, I think, and feel free to disagree, I'm always happy to debate, I don't mean to sound so assertive, doesn't mean I'm right, is this assassin, this guy, we know who he is, right? We all agree. For the most part, this guy's the guy, they caught him. You have to ask yourself, why did he do it? And if your question is about a conspiracy that the Trump administration was in on it, or some other entity, say Israeli intelligence, British intelligence, any other country intelligence, or say a terrorist group, or any other entity, if they were behind it, what was their motive? How did they convince this guy? Why did they pick this guy? Why did he do it? And if you can't answer those questions, then maybe it's time to spend more time listening to people who can. And that's kind of condescending and arrogant as it sounds. I've been humbled so many times on live radio, guys, on live TV by people who are 10,000 times more qualified and intelligent than I am. So it comes from that place, these questions and this kind of critical thinking. And so unless you believe that there's some born identity, brain control drug or device that can control how people behave, that you could put that in me right now and make me try to kill the president, then what is the motive of the assassin? And if it's an entity organization, why would they pick this guy?
Right.
This guy,
Right.
more importantly now is what's most important is we should not react to these things. There is now reporting that the guy who did this, his brother, called the FBI the day before.
Yeah.
It's
That's another thing that didn't make sense to me. I'm like, then they would have already known, and like, I don't understand how this even happened.
It makes perfect sense because he calls up the FBI. He says, "I think my brother is going to do something," and the FBI doesn't know how seriously to take this accusation, but they absolutely look at him. But they don't know that where he is. They don't know that he's on his way. The guy didn't say, I don't know what the reporting is, that he's going to try to attempt to kill the president at the Hilton at the White House Correspondents Dinner. I think he just said, listen, my brother's a little crazy. He's been posting some shit on the internet. I'm worried he might do something. And the FBI gets those hundreds of times a day. Again, why? Because Donald Trump is the most hated man in the world.
Right.
Which ones should the FBI resourcing? Meanwhile, the FBI has been resourced to go after undocumented immigrants that are performing the most important jobs in America. So it's like there's not unlimited resources to go after every lead. It turns out that the guy's brother does the right thing, drops a dime on his crazy brother. It's exactly what you would expect. This is all playing out. It's normal. There's no conspiracy.
Yeah. And it doesn't help that administration, it lies so much that you don't necessarily trust them and their narrative.
But you always catch their lies. They're not good at it.
Yeah.
They're not good at lying. We know what they're doing. They're also not good at governing. Everything they've tried to do, not everything, a lot of what they've tried to do is completely backfired. Courts have overturned it. The terrorists, the raids in Minnesota, they're bad at it, which is why it's crazy to give them any kind of credit that they could pull something like this off. And furthermore, Donald Trump, this is a really important point a friend of mine made, can't keep a secret.
Huh?
He can't keep a secret. You think he's in on a false flag? He cannot keep. He tells everybody everything.
Very true. Yeah. Yeah, it's not like conspiracy theories like they're not it's not like they're not interesting, they are, but like I like what you were saying though, like about how a lot of times they're proven false because yeah, that's what you wait, like that's the thing about conspiracy theories. Like they're not necessarily wrong in the first place, but yeah, like then once you start hearing like the facts behind it, you should be able to differentiate, like, okay, this doesn't sound right.
Or you should be able to accept for there's such a flood of it
Yeah.
in so many directions that it's harder today to discern what's true and what's not, especially with AI, A, and B, there's so many different ways to manipulate people. It's not like there's 3 networks and it's JFK and Lee Harvey Oswald, or
Right.
Abraham Lincoln. It's also another point. Lots of presidents have been, 3 have been assassinated, and almost everyone has been attempted. It's not weird that someone tries to kill the president, and it's definitely not weird that someone tries to kill the most hated man in the world. And it's also really unsurprising that he failed, because it's hard. And finally, if you want to kill somebody, it's not hard. It's not hard to kill somebody, even somebody who has a lot of security. And especially in a world awash in guns. So I just, the likeliest scenario is usually the truth. And the idea that a bunch of people could keep a secret, not one of them can keep a secret.
No.
Also, they hate each other.
Right.
Yeah.
The one thing that I did find weird though was when they were interviewing Caroline Levitt before, and she's like, "Wait, there will be shots will be fired." I'm like, that's kind of weird that she said that, but it could have just been coincidence. She's like,
It's so weird to me. She would never. You have to ask yourself: is she in on it? Did she know there was going to be an attempt? And if she did,
No, she wouldn't be in on it. But like she's
She didn't know. That's a normal thing to say at a roast. Shots will be fired. It's normal.
yeah.
That's what White House Correspondents Dinner. She also saw his speech. And the other thing that debunks the conspiracy theory that the Trump administration was in on it is that he wanted to give that speech more than anything in the world. He wanted to rip the media. That's why he was there. He definitely didn't want it to get canceled. And it got canceled. She saw the speech. She knew he was going to say things, quote, shots fired. And that's where that.
Yeah, and yeah, like to be honest, she is pretty cunty. She would probably say something like that. I mean, that's how I see her. Like, I'm like, she's not my favorite person.
I only use the word cunty about men.
I normally do, except for Caroline Levitt. Like, but I feel like I'm allowed to. 'Cause I know I'm like showing my like female privilege here, but like I feel like
No, it's not. It's not privilege. I had this argument with my daughters. My daughters, I told them I didn't like the word pussy because I think it sounded like a misogynistic word to make it sound like women are weak. You're a pussy, and like you're weak. And I argued. I was like, pussies are a lot stronger than dicks. They have to give birth.
right?
You know, so
The whole Betty White quote. Like Betty White does a quote on that about how pussies are way stronger than balls.
yeah, oh yeah. For there's a lot of different. So I said this to my daughters. I was like, you shouldn't say it, and they're like, no, you shouldn't. I was like, I got served by a 10-year-old girl.
It's true though. Hey, I agree with her though. Like, I mean, I think that we should be allowed to say it.
Yeah.
We're the ones that have pussies. We should be allowed to say that shit, right?
Black folks can say the N-word. Women can say whatever they want. It's yeah. And if you're sad that you can't say it, then you're the saddest man of all. You're the saddest white man in the world.
Well, that's a good segue to what else I want.
Say certain words. My life is so much. Shut up. Do you have insurance?
All right.
I was going to say that was the segue into what I want to get into next. The Republicans are so against the LGBTQ community and being a father of a transgender young adult. I want to talk to you a little bit about, first off, your experience with the Turning Point USA in your community, but how it's all like, oh, we don't want them using their bathrooms. But there was this report that came out this week that there was this website that quote unquote sleep content, which was basically on how to drug women to rape them. It had 62 million visitors in February. And how that is kind of the real problem and not transgender people in bathrooms.
Well, sorry to laugh, but yes, obviously. When the issue arose in my town and right-wing crazy people in my town who were supported by Turning Point USA and Moms for Liberty, and I can get more into it, but when they raised the manufactured issue that trans girls, boys transitioning to girls, should not be allowed to use the bathroom or the locker room of their choice. They manufactured this concern, this fear. And when I spoke for my 3 minutes at the school board meeting, what I said was, I have 2 daughters in high school, and my daughters are not worried about a trans girl coming in to the bathroom and assaulting them. My girls are worried for the trans girl being assaulted herself anywhere at any time during school because she's trans. This is a vulnerable community that has been targeted and victimized, not a community of aggressors or aggressive people. Furthermore, trans girls use the unisex bathroom. Like every other kid in school, nobody wants to shit next to anybody else or get changed next to anybody else. Or, like I did in high school, shower next to another bunch of other dudes. Like, nobody wants that.
Exactly.
So we have these individual bathrooms that every trans person, when there's only 3 or 2 or 1 in any school, they use. They're never a concern. There is no example of it. And as you said, more importantly, the aggressors are overwhelmingly boys and men. And no, there's no documented case of a boy, quote, pretending to be trans so that he can get into a locker room or bathroom and sneak a look or assault a woman. It doesn't happen. No guy, no straight boy is going to pretend to be trans just so he can hang out in the girls' locker room. Like, that's not worth it, bro. And it's not happening, and it's stupid. So the point is, the trans community is a community of vulnerable people who are just trying to get through life and find some joy and be who they're, speak their truth and be their truth and not be targeted. And they are far more likely, it's an understatement, to be targeted, to be the victim than to be the aggressor. So it is a preposterous notion. It is a manufactured argument used to create fear in a community, to divide a community. It's exactly what happened in my community. They used it to divide us, and we lost. We lost 3 seats to crazy people on that issue alone. And a lot of liberals are to blame too, who were also bought into that kind of nonsense. Victimizing or making trans girls the aggressors, which is, we can talk about trans girls in sports too. A lot of that but it's all just a red herring and nonsense. And as you said, there are far more serious issues. And if we want government to be resourcing a threat matrix of the issues that are most likely to cause you or your family any kind of pain or trauma, then you would want investments in healthcare. Because if you're more convinced that you're going to die of a terrorist attack or an assault than a heart attack or cancer, you've been duped.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So going back to the shooter, and he obviously had mental problems. One thing
White House Correspondents Dinner?
Yeah.
I don't even know if we should call him a shooter because I'm not sure he ever pulled his trigger. But go ahead. Yeah, to the point.
Well, true. But mental health, in the United States is a huge issue. And it's something that we've always advocated on this show. We started the show during COVID, and we started to, as a coping mechanism, to, bounce ideas off of each other and talk about things and put it out there. But I don't think the focus in the United States, especially in our healthcare system, is focused enough on mental health and how to prevent things like this going on in other mass shootings when there's so many red flags all the time.
I couldn't agree more. It's the most obvious thing to invest in curing violence. That's the name of an actual nonprofit, Cure Violence, that has done a tremendous amount to bring down gang violence in cities like Chicago and Detroit, using a really interesting set of laws and principles to fight violence. But if the answer to curing violence in many ways is to curing and treating mental health disorders, and arguably violence against yourself, suicide in America, and especially because the availability of guns, especially with men and boys, is obviously everybody knows, because there's not a person who doesn't know somebody who's killed themselves, a man especially. Mm-hmm. And so there's suicide and there's homicide, obviously. And if your concern is violence, and if your concern is people, almost always men, young men, who create this type of violence against themselves or a community, then there's a wide array of policies that you could act to bring that down. You're never going to stop it entirely. I think that's important. There's more guns than there are people. But I sometimes, guys, think that while it's important to talk about and resource mental health, it's also probably more important to get to the root of how, like this guy, get radicalized to the point where they would travel across the country with guns and knives, write a manifesto. And this has happened all over the country, and it's happened all over the world. It's happened in Christchurch, New Zealand. It's happened in Oslo, Norway. It's happened in Sydney last year. It's happened in Pittsburgh, in Buffalo, in El Paso. And I think that a lot of the problem is media. Anybody can have a show. Anybody can be platformed. The crazier you are, unfortunately, the more popular they are. What you guys are doing with your show is, in small part, trying to create media that works at solving problems, that talks about real issues and talks to people who know about them. That's super important to do, as opposed to radicalizing people into being violent and to believing things that aren't, and to thinking that we're, taking babies' blood from them when they're in a panic state so that we can live forever. Or a number of conspiracies. It's media driven. So I'm interested in talking about what we can do to educate people and to, I don't want to censor necessarily, but to not allow for crazy conspiracy theorists to be the most popular podcasts, YouTubers, or network hosts in the world. Because, plenty of Fox News hosts sold the burglar lie, the election big lie, climate change, or any number of conspiracies. So I think media is the problem not more than mental health. Mental health should be a resource, but I think what radicalizes people, we used to talk about this post 9/11 with Al-Qaeda. How do they get there? How do we stop the idea of them being radicalized? And Obama's solution was to fire a Hellfire missile at the guy who was making the tapes radicalizing people. So whether you supported that or not, he killed their top propaganda guy who sat in front of a camera and made VHS tapes and radicalized people. I don't know if that was the right answer, but it didn't hurt.
How did Republicans not think that was a right answer? Like, I mean,
Which one?
all just because Obama, like, they just didn't like Obama? Because, like, that sounds like something that Republicans would get behind, like, we'll just take that guy out. You know what I mean?
They did get behind it. Republicans supported Barack Obama's drone tactics against radical Islamic extremists. They didn't question them. The left did not support it. And so my larger point was what radicalizes people? What is it that radicalizes someone to make them think? And to be fair,
Probably misinformation is what.
well, and any number of things. It's almost always misinformation. But to be fair, Trump it looks like he was a pedophile. It looks like he had sex with teenage girls. And they're not women, they're girls. And that's why he's a pedophile. It looks like it. There's a lot of evidence that points to it. Regardless of the Epstein files, dude owned a beauty pageant and went in a locker room. Dude admitted to all kinds of sexual assault. Dude then recently compared himself to Jesus. Those two things alone, they make people hate him. If your next door neighbor, you believe they were a pedophile, you would want to end them. A lot of people believe this guy is a pedophile, pretending pedophile, so they have a motive to do something. As opposed to the nonsense that gets spread and spewed in conspiracy theories, like Barack Obama's a secret Muslim who wasn't born here. Guess who started that or popularized it? Donald Trump. That's not true. But if you believe that was true, you would hate Barack Obama, or you wouldn't trust him, or what radicalizes people on radio and TV and YouTube, that to me is a really important conversation, and we have to have a consensus around truth, and we're losing it, and that's the scariest thing, in my opinion, of all.
Yeah. And I think with your show particularly, as far as mental health, what you've done with the community that you built around your show and your listeners and your supporters, I think that's a big deal on it, because your community is some of the nicest people I've ever met in my life on it. I've recently lost my mom, and, especially Roz was there for me.
Another shout out to Ross.
Yeah, Roz.
We love you so much.
The woman shows up for everyone. I don't know how she does it, but she's also a role model in that way. And
she's amazing.
I didn't know that she showed up for you like that, but she showed up for my mom, and I know she showed up for other people when they have losses. And I am inspired by that, and it makes me want to be more like that. I used to and still avoid people's pain to a certain extent. Like, oh, I'm sorry you lost your mom. Oh, no, I'll be over here not paying attention to you because it's painful to deal with your pain. I've done that in the past. That's not who I want to be. I want to be more like her. And so, I have a lot of people that I've gotten to know through the community that have really inspired me and taught me to be a better person and man. And I really appreciate what you're saying. But I would say, you said you built this community like we did. It took a village. There's no I couldn't have done it if people didn't pay me a monthly subscription so that I could do the work. And I couldn't have done it if they didn't do all kinds of other things, like so many organic things, including the Discord platform, and all of the live events are produced by listeners. And I can't do it without the hundreds of people who participate. And I guess, what does it say about our community that we're, how do you describe it? And where does it come from? I don't know. I'm not going to take credit for it because everybody that listens has imparted some wisdom on me through the years, and it gets all very kind of communal. I'm not going to say incestuous, but like it's like osmosis. Like we all affect each other. We all make each other better. We all show up for each other. You see someone's behavior. You see someone showing up. You see someone trying to ease somebody else's suffering. You see someone doing something selfless and altruistic. You see someone trying to spread joy as opposed to spreading fear and hate. And it's infectious, and you want to be around people like that. And I think that's not only speaks to the people that are kind of the stand-up community, but I think it speaks to a lot of good people in different communities around the world. And there's a lot of wonderful people, and I believe that most people are good, and I think that we found a lot of them.
Do you find it more rewarding doing this podcast and having that community than when you were on CNN or when you were with Sirius XM?
Yes, but I miss the money and the financial security. I miss working for a company. I miss that was easier work. The work I'm doing now is harder, and I'm older, so it's hard. The work is hard, and I got to stay on it. And but the reward is infinitely better than the reward I got in corporate media. Creating this community and connecting people to each other to do what I'm saying, to see people easing suffering and looking for joy has been more rewarding than anything other than being a dad to my two amazing young women daughters.
And you have no fears about them going to Europe for college?
I don't spend a lot of time with that emotion around my daughters. It's a pretty wonderful privilege because they're both capable, confident, and independent. And when I have worried about them in the past, they've proven me wrong to the point of embarrassment. So questioning and worrying about they're across the Atlantic, and the bridge shuts down and I can't get a hold of them. But I don't worry about them. Like even in that scenario, my daughters navigated life, and they have developed a set of tools. They're very different, but they're both very confident and very capable. And I feel very lucky that I don't spend time. I don't worry about them. I worry about anybody who might get in their way.
Yes, that's awesome.
Well, I mean, that speaks to you as the job you've done as a father, though.
That means you raised them, right? Yeah.
My ex-wife is an exceptional person, and did a lot. We both take a lot of credit, but we also give a lot of credit. And, nature and nurture, who knows? But I think we role model the right way. So I had a lot of thoughts on parenting. I'm writing a book for men raising daughters from the point of view of women about their dads. That's the whole premise. I ask women about their dads. And my strongest opinion is I'm very much against helicopter parents, this generation of parents who won't let their kids go outside, won't let their kids go into the city, or won't let their kids out of their sight. I think they're doing tremendous damage. Val and I, my ex-wife and I, pushed our daughters in the deep end, pushed them alone in the woods, put them alone at the mall. We beat them severely. No, the last one's not true, but we pushed them in. We made them independent by having them conquer the anxieties of the world and not giving them our own and not making up a threat around every corner. I mean, my old generation of parents think their kid is going to get kidnapped, and not one person even knows a person whose kid was kidnapped. And every time you hear of an Amber Alert, it's always a custody battle. Like, kids don't get snatched. My daughter was walking her dog when she was 7 because we were teaching her responsibility. Go walk that dog. Go get exercise. She's your responsibility. A neighbor said, "Is that your daughter?" I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Aren't you worried she's going to get snatched?" I said, "What is wrong? Who says snatched, first of all? And second of all, you're just projecting because you're worried about your kid. And lastly, you shouldn't worry about your kid because of all the kids in this neighborhood, no one's taking yours. Look at him." An ugly kid.
He's not cute enough to get kidnapped.
You should feel safer than anyone. He has an eye patch and an eating disorder.
Oh, that's fucked up, but funny. Yeah.
All right, well, and a couple of lighter notes.
I'm going to have to buy your book for my dad because he is the father of 2 girls. So I'm going to have to.
Well, more importantly, I would interview you about your dad.
Yeah, you should. That'd be good.
I've heard some stories.
Right?
Your dad was good, bad, or in the middle, or whatever. Like, the idea is I interview women who are independent and confident and successful in their career. So I'm interviewing journalists and scientists and doctors and artists and in different categories. And generally speaking, now I'm trying to interview very well-known women, but only because it'll sell the book, not because they're better than anyone else. Just because if I interview, Amy Schumer is a friend of mine, a comedian, Amy Schumer, then I interview her about her dad, and people are more likely to buy the book than,
Right. Yeah, totally. I love Amy Schumer.
gimmicky hook.
Okay. Who was the person that you...
The first time Amy Schumer ever did comedy, it was me, Michael. It was me. I was hosting the first time Amy Schumer ever
Really?
did comedy.
Really?
That's impressive.
I told her, and she writes about it in her book. Because when she came off stage, I go, I rarely tell anybody this, but you should actually do this.
Wow.
I give her encouragement. I normally wouldn't. You don't do that to someone who's starting out. What was your actual question? I'm sorry.
That was a smart move, though. If I can just interrupt really quick, like that was a smart because Amy Schumer's really funny. It's a good thing you said that to her because I would hate for us to not have her.
It's all to me. The only thing that I really do have, and I will be honest for a moment, my talent is finding smart and successful people, having them on my show, or just befriending them. That's what I do.
Well, you befriended us, so...
Besides you guys, my talent...
Tooting yourself up.
Well, God, it's the worst. Was there anybody that you were ever nervous about interviewing?
Oh, yeah, all the time, still. Sure.
Oh.
Yeah.
Name one.
Who's the most...
Name dropping.
Most intimidated by interviewing people who I think are extremely intelligent. Like that they're not going to be impressed enough with my questions, or I'm going to, be this or that and not make them feel like ever coming back. My show has always been, I've always kind of categorized as like NPR with a personality or public radio with a heartbeat. And also, like I'm not a particularly educated guy. So like I like to think that people listen to my show agree with or would ask the same questions I have to my guests. And so people like Dahlia Lithwick, who is one of the smartest women I know, a constitutional lawyer and a very influential person in the world of common law in the Supreme Court, or people like Aaron Carroll, who I became friends with, who's the smartest health researcher in the country. Fight me if you don't agree. Or I could go on and on. So it's less the celebrities that I've interviewed and more like the really smart folks that I hope to just be able to hang in a conversation with or an interview.
Or I was going to bring it back to the beginning of the show, or like Neil deGrasse Tyson. Has he been on?
Yeah, but he wasn't someone I was particularly intimidated by. I found him to be kind of more of a showman and an entertainer, and so like that was easy because he knew how to be on the radio.
Oh, okay.
He wasn't coming on. He's very much a big part of his success is that not only is a brilliant scientist, he's a showman. He knows how to be on TV, on the radio, do interviews. He's funny, he's good, he's quick. And so when you're dealing with something like that, you don't have to make them interesting. And and as long as you're, in my case, who I am, it's going to go great. Like I was never intimidated by interviewing really smart comedians. I was excited to show them that I could hang with them and they would come back. One of the funniest moments of my career was Jeffrey Tambor. You know who he is?
Yeah.
Yes. Love him.
Came on my show the first time, figured out that I was good and quick with banter, and so came back because he had fun. And the second time he came back, he knew I could take a joke. So he opens the interview and he goes, "Peter, I'm surprised that you're still hosting the show." And I said, "Why are you saying that, Jeffrey? Things are going great. I just launched my own channel here at Sirius XM. Why are you surprised? It seems almost insulting." And he said, "Because you're not good." It was just like we were off to the races. Like he opened the interview with the most cutting insult, and that is where you acknowledge this is a hilarious person, and we're about to have a really fun time insulting each other or just dancing, as I call it. But dancing with a funny guest is really a fun thing and a great part of my career that I've had the opportunity to do that with so many amazing, talented, funny people.
Yeah, and we witnessed that person at PodJam this year, that you can take it as well as you give it.
Oh, it's funny that you said that because somebody else said that. What are you referring to? I mean, that's certainly something I pride myself in, and something I taught my own daughters. Like, no, the joke is the thing.
Well, I mean,
I want to be able to make fun of you, and if I want to be able to make fun of you and everything and everyone, I have to be okay with you taking an equal or better shot at me. Those have always been my rules. Those are kind of the rules of any confident comedian who's in any way self-aware. But was there something that
no,
you saw?
it was just the general vibe of, between you, JL, and Watch Ali, and Rod and Karen,
Yeah,
the whole
when
time.
you guys did it just seemed.
Most comedians take the piss out of each other. There are a few, I would name them, who don't like being made fun of, and it's just...
Name them.
Artie Lang never liked a joke at his expense.
Really? Artie?
the guy-
There's so
yeah.
many jokes to be made about Artie, too. That's weird.
He's the funniest, most cutting guy and mean with his jokes, but they're hilarious. And one time, I went on stage, I used to open for him.
Why would you even be on Howard's show if you couldn't take somebody
But it's
throwing
always
shade at you?
Hilarious alpha male can't take a joke.
Yeah, because Howard was mean to him all the time.
I opened for him at a theater. There was 2,000 people, and then I introduced him, and then he says, "Give it up for Pete Dominick. He's a Make-A-Wish kid, and his wish was to open for me. He's making fun of me for being bald. I look like a cancer patient." That was his joke. He said he looks like a Make-A-Wish kid.
That's not even that funny of a joke, though. I mean,
It's funny in the moment, but the point is, he's saying I look like someone who's on chemo. That's mean and hilarious thing to say after I walk off stage. His wish was to open for me. And congratulations, Pete. So, that's the meanest joke you can make. And then whether you think it's funny or not, it's a pretty fucking crass joke to make, a cancer.
no, I mean, I get it. I get the joke that it's funny, but it's it's not that. It's not.
Yeah, the idea is you should always be able to take a joke. And I appreciate you recognize that I can give as good as I can get. That's important to me that people realize that. And those are the rules. And that also hosting a show and creating this community, I don't want there to be a hierarchy. If I make fun of you, you can hit me back as hard as you want, and I'm happy to laugh at your joke. I can't wait. The comedy is the thing, it's not personal. We're just joking around.
Yeah.
And who knew Waj was so funny?
I did.
You did.
Well, yeah, you're of course Pete's gonna be like, I knew. That's why I brought him.
Oh my God.
Well,
Yeah.
he probably puts out comedy more with me because I'm a comic in his interviews. He uses it more and we riff a lot. He doesn't do it as much in his work and with other people, but with me from the beginning when we met, we were doing jokes. And so I've always recognized this from the day I met him, and he recognized mine. And so we've always joked around a lot, but he's a brilliantly hilarious person, and it has a lot to do with his great success at this moment.
Okay. And we always like to end it with this question, because it's one thing, that common ground that everyone loves is food. What is either your favorite dish or the favorite dish that you can make?
Well, you picked the wrong guy.
Yeah.
Literally the least interesting.
Few good friends said that.
My cultural blind spots are food and music.
Whoa.
Right?
Really?
I don't have a lot to say about either. I will answer your question, but I just want to point to the fact that I had an issue around food. And it's not something I think about a lot, care about a lot, or engage in doing. I will starve, forget to eat, then eat very fast to get it over with. I'm the worst. Recently, a good friend and mentor told me, Pete, he talks like this, Pete, you gotta put food at the center of your life. You gotta plan around food. And it's been great advice. So I've tried harder to put food at the center of my life, to care about making food. Recently, I got separated. Well, a couple of years now, I've been living alone. So I'm like, I'm in an apartment. And I'm such a cliche. I'm so bad. I'm eating pretty well, but I don't eat a lot. The answer to your question, though, chicken parmesan. Can I make it?
Oh,
No.
you know what? Chicken parmesan is bomb, though. It is. That's a good one to pick.
But it's not interesting. That's like, I sound like the most boring douche in the world. Chicken parm.
Yeah, but it's amazing. It tastes good. Like, we always just like to ask people.
I want to be interesting, though.
Well, you are interesting.
That's okay. I mean, like, maybe you're interesting in the fact, like, I have a cousin that he's one of my male cousins, has an eating disorder. Like, because I was like, when you were talking, I'm like, are you going, like, he doesn't have like a thing with food either. He's not built like the rest of us Abbots, where we're all about the food.
Most people, I don't know. It wasn't when my parents didn't put a lot of importance on cooking and eating, and it didn't come from that kind of home. And my ex-wife, though, it was the primary import. She's Sicilian, 100%.
Oh, okay. So she's probably a really good cook.
She's amazing. And so for the whole time I was married to her, like, it was no denying living with her, that was going to be the most important part of our life. And it was. And I appreciate it. And I appreciate those who are thoughtful, responsible, and, care about the way they eat, the way that they feed, putting food at the center of life, entertaining with all of it. But I'm terrible. I'm getting better, but it's terrible. Listen, I'm like a little boy. My favorite thing, Michael, is berries. I love and eat and spend all of my money on strawberries, raspberries, and blueberries. That's
Yeah,
who
but
I am.
those are actually really healthy for you, though. Like, so that's actually good. Those are like the best fruits you can eat anyways. Berries have like the most nutritional value.
Well, I'm
So
supposed
that's
to eat
good.
beets and chia seeds, and I'm not doing that.
Beets are the worst.
So you could eat like the berries with some yogurt and chia seeds, and that would be amazing right there. Like
Yeah,
that.
I don't. I'm gonna try that. I should.
We're
try
going all healthy now.
Yeah.
I like to talk about all the fatty McFat foods.
Well,
that. So potato skins and chicken wings for dinner. So.
yeah, basically, I eat. Look, we're trying to keep Pete healthy here. I know he's a busy man. I mean, he
is healthy. Look at him.
He hosts, produces, edits his own podcast with very little help. I know how you feel, Pete. Snow just shows up.
I do nothing here. I do literally nothing. I make cocktails and I talk. That's about it.
Yeah, well, you do make some good cocktails.
Yeah,
I will say. Okay. But thank you for taking time out of your busy day to join us here. And hopefully we can do it again sometime. If you didn't notice, we lost our video feed. I have this weird setup where I have a laptop here and a monitor in front of me. I'm using my phone to record it. So I know you can see us, but we can't see you. So flying
Well,
blind.
that's better. That's totally fine. There's no need to see, as long as you can hear and feel my essence. Guys, it's been great. I've enjoyed it. I really enjoyed getting to know you guys. Salt of the earth, really thoughtful people. So happy to have you in our world, and really happy to be a small part of yours.
Okay, well.
Yeah, your timing is impeccable, though. I don't think we've ever had a guest where like the video goes out and then like it's never really talking over the other person. He's a very good listener.
Yeah.
Why?
And then the interaction. It's very amazing, spot on.
Yeah. That's why.
What'd you say?
that's why he's where he's at.
There's the jokes.
We're where we are.
Right?
No, I mean, I do think there's a really important part of conversation and give and take, and I think that's not only true in a podcast conversation like this, but in life, whether it's with my daughters or, on a date or with anybody. I'm very much interested in kind of an equity too. I want to listen, I want to talk, I want to be heard, I want to hear depending on the person, obviously a lot of times I'm just listening. And also the remote, when we're doing things like this remote, you have to take a beat so you don't talk over each other.
Right.
Exactly.
And then you edit out a long pause.
All right. Well, thank you, Pete. This has been great. And maybe we'll see you again next year.
Thank you.